This episode of Inside the Game is powered by MSI Gaming. The game just got real. Head to our website at insidethegame.ca for all the details. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Inside the Game, your one-stop shop for everything cool in video games. I'm one of your hosts, Drew Beausoleil. Before we get started, don't forget to head to insidethegame.ca where there you can be a part of the show. Don't forget to drop by our podcast as well as our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, you know how all that works. Now we have another jam-packed episode, so why don't we get started with the Inside Scoop. Ubisoft City Builder Anno 1800 is getting its first DLC with Sunken Treasure. It's coming to Windows PC, and it's also been announced that the Gold Edition will now be coming with the Season Pass. Sunken Treasures will set players on a quest for glory and riches as they write history, erecting new capital to bring a declining empire back from its former glory. Sunken Treasures' epic new questline will give players access to a whole new European session. Sunken Treasure introduces a new third-party character, Old Nate, a shabby-looking scavenger and inventor who prefers the company of his old automatons. In addition, players will now have access to a new game mechanic, revolving around the inventions of the quaint scientists, crafting. Old Nate will send players on a hunt for sunken shipwrecks to bring him the construction materials needed to finish the experiments. In his workshop, players will gain access to a large variety of items to create to maximize the potential of their empire.
So Rebellion has announced that Sniper Elite 3 Ultimate Edition is coming to the Switch. This is pretty exciting news because you get all the previous DLC with 3 new features. We got motion controls, we got Pro Controller compatibility, and lastly my favorite, we have local co-op. So come October 1st, you better check out Sniper Elite 3 on the Switch.
So we've had Apex Legends tournaments in the past, run one-offs, kind of things like that, but there's some big stuff coming out of Respawn on Apex Legends Invitational Tournament being held September 13th to the 15th. We're looking at 80 teams qualifying, that's 3-player teams, for up to $500,000 prize pool.
Come back here, brother. I dare ya.
I won't, but you're already dead. Night-night.
Keeping on track with tournaments, this past weekend, the Fortnite World Cup went down and they were giving away over $30 million. And we just want to give a big congratulations to Kyle Booga Giersdorf for bringing home the $3 million prize for winning the solo tournament. It was an unbelievable tournament, and you know what? I think it's going to open a lot of eyes and show people that esports is here to stay and it's actually real sports.
The final moments of Fortnite World Cup.
Oh my gosh.
Bow down.
Surprise.
Bow down to Booga.
Doesn't even matter. And it might come down to a heel off. T-Chub dropping down those campfires. We'll see here. Crew following it all the way in, and T-Chub goes down. Brew with a victory royale.
But ladies and gentlemen, there's no way anyone beats your Fortnite World Champion, Booga! $3 million richer.
Words can't even explain it right now. I'm just so happy. Everything I've done, the grind, it's all paid off, and it's just insane. Had to go out big and do everything I could to win.
Put your hands together for this young man. He just made history. The greatest Fortnite player in the world. Give it up one more time. Your champion of the world, Booga!
So we have a new piece of news on a Sony exclusive. This one's Concrete Genie. Now this is from the developers Pixel Opus, and they've just dropped a teaser showing some new features in the game. So you draw these monsters to life with a magic paintbrush, paint skating, all sorts of really cool stuff. You should check it out. The pre-orders are now available. The game's coming out October 8th.
Nice. Finito.
August is just around the corner, so that means one thing: Xbox games with gold. We're getting free games. We're getting Gears of War 4, Forza Motorsport 6, Torchlight, and Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
The Nintendo Switch has been selling like hotcakes, so here's some of the games you gotta check out. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Splatoon 2, Super Mario Party, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Mario Tennis Aces. Alright, this week I'm going solo and I'm talking about Zombatron. Let's dive in.
Zombatron was a hidden gem I knew nothing about. Thankfully, my man Drew reached out for a code and told me I was reviewing this game. This side-scroller, platformer RPG shooter is a great addition to this sort of classic genre. A nice balance of having puzzles to solve and monsters to shoot or blow up, and a perfectly paced grind towards getting better weapons and leveling up. The RPG system isn't a very in-depth system, only really offering 3 options of where to put points into. 1 being health, 1 being strength, and the 3rd being crit chance. Although not overly complicated, it didn't need to be. It was a nice addition to the game that didn't just feel like it kinda was put in there. The checkpoint system in the game is forgiving, offering checkpoints throughout longer missions and only causing you to start from the beginning of a mission on shorter ones. The boss fights are quite challenging, but there are several weapons and armor pieces you obtain throughout the game to help you fight and win, provided you either search for secret areas or you purchase them at random vending machines. You obtain cash through killing enemies and finding secret areas as well. It seemed that I didn't always need to buy a weapon, but at times it did really help. There's quite a variety in different weapons and armor, which again adds more value to this already great game. The graphics are colorful, pretty, and are done in a really entertaining way. The explosions that happen and mayhem you cause really look great. The enemies are diverse enough where you don't feel like you're always fighting the same monsters, and most of the time, you're not fighting the monsters alone. There are both aliens, zombies, and robots, all out to kill you and each other. I've always loved watching factions fight each other, whether it was Age of Empires or in Halo, but watching it in this game is equally as fun and keeps the combat fresh. The story is being played through Blaze Rush, who is an adventurer and mercenary who's been struggling to find work. When he hears a distress signal from the planet Zombatron, a savage, uncharted world, he heads off for a quick payday. Blaze discovers a signal that is from an ancient crash site with no sign of the ship's operator. Returning to find his own ship stripped for parts, he realizes someone has trapped him on the surface. He'll blaze a trail across Zombatron looking for the thieves and a way back home. So the story is pretty comical at times, with the chatter between you and your AI companion Ash giving you even more reason to push through the game. The controls in the game are standard, giving you a very smooth and comfortable experience. The price of the game is $14.99 US, which is definitely worth it. So if I were to score this game, it is undoubtedly a high score. With lots of enemies to kill that are also killing each other, and the great graphics, price, and boss fights, the RPG system that didn't feel shoehorned in remotely, the fun weapons and armor, this game is definitely a 9. In conclusion, this game is a must grab for anyone who's a fan of this genre. The gameplay is tight, the price is great, and there is a ton of value in this great game.
All right, Nate. This time, the Youngbloods are checking out Youngblood.
Yeah.
Listen close, girls. The world is a dark forest full of monsters. Monsters that'll tear your flesh from bone.
So this time we played one of my favorite series here. This is Wolfenstein Youngbloods. This is a new release, just came out, and this is where you're following the two Blazkowicz daughters. So if anybody's not familiar with that game series, you play as BJ Blazkowicz most of the time. You're fighting the Nazis in a alternate universe where they actually won the war. So they won the war, they came to America, and they defeated America too. So it gets really dark. That's the last game though. This is the new game. We're following the daughters of Blazkowicz, and they are in France this time, trying to help the French resistance and find their father. So that kind of sets the tone of the game. It's a little different, but the same kind of settings. And we jumped into it co-op because that's the name of this game. It's made to be co-op. So we had an interesting time, to say the least.
Yeah, so the game, it actually, in my opinion, it started off pretty strong. They had some pretty good cutscenes, and then like right off the hop with your, when the two twin sisters would get their first kill, it's actually hilarious.
That's a good scene.
But then, pretty much right after that, it kind of down spirals as far as like having good story content.
And the quality of the narrative is just, it feels a little different than the normal series that I'm used to. So this game, I think, has taken kind of a hit because the story has gone kind of to the background. It's to play co-op, and it's a co-op experience. So I think they kind of thought that the story wasn't super important because it kind of just picks you up and drops you in this new area, kind of unrelated. You're just trying to find your dad.
It's very broken up.
It doesn't speak to you very well about what you're supposed to be doing. There's a couple characters in your hub world that you kind of talk to and you take missions off of. They're cool, but you don't really have to learn them very much.
No, they're honestly, they're not very memorable, and they didn't really bring back very many characters, if any, from the original games, which kind of sucks because we've been following this story for so long. It would have been nice to maybe have a couple cameos or just something to kind of make it more excitable.
And you're used to that crew that you hang out with in the second game, especially in the hub world. That's a normal thing, that you're running around talking to these people, but it's supposed to be more than that. Some of them join you on missions and stuff. They would bring you through areas in certain parts of the old game. That's all been scrapped. You don't see them out in the world. You don't see anyone out and about. It's just, here's a mission, go collect these things. Go find some side mission kind of thing. So that's kind of where the thing took a hit because I'm used to the story dragging me through it where I want to play to get to the next level to kind of do the next kind of activity, but it became very samey.
Yeah, and that's the problem when you're forced to play through an area and clear out the same area, 5 times in a row because of the side quests are all in the same spot. It just becomes kind of tiresome and overexhausting.
Now, a side quest on the side in the area of the main quest would have been great. You just go to another location, get an extra objective or something like that. That would make sense. But a lot of the times, they're disconnected. They're not related to a mission exactly. They're just kind of a side thing that another character throws to you, and you don't really see too much follow-up on it either. You get these items sometimes from people, and you bring them back, and it's just kind of, okay, here's the next one. And that kind of hurt me. It kind of took me out of the play. Because like you said, you're going through these areas time and time again, grinding off of enemies that are getting harder and harder, just to get back to the same building I already conquered and cleaned out. Why are we not stomping ground?
The level design, unfortunately, it had its moments where I was like, this is kind of cool. It kind of brought me to this Dishonored feel where I get to scale up really high and like explore and jump around, but then having to do it, like you're not going to re-jump around 5 times when I'm doing this another side mission.
Or it's really frustrating when you've gone through a checkpoint area, or you've gone through a whole area with no checkpoints rather. You clear out the shortcut, and then when you die, you spawn, and there's no progress at all. You just respawn right back at the start of the level. Like that hurt a lot too, especially because it's a co-op experience. We're gonna mess up, and it kind of works against you because if you're not the same level, which there's a level system, so we gotta get into that. But if you're not the same level, the difficulties are all weird. It's supposed to only scale off of your difficulty and your level. But I don't find that to be the case at all, and I'm not sure what's going on with that. I found many enemies that we would get to, and they're just bullet sponges. We can't do anything to them.
It was so bad. Worse than Division 1 at times, where you're just pouring bullets into them. But then other enemies, you just can blow them into pieces in
Or you
one
level
shot.
up. Yeah, and that's satisfying when it does happen. I do like that.
And that's what Wolfenstein's always been like. You can just dual wield everything and just blow up everything.
The heavy guns. Here's the problem: you can't dual wield all the guns that I used to do.
So let's get into some of the other things now. Okay, so the guns. There's no new weapons in the game. They're all just weapons that we've seen before.
Yeah.
There's a dual wield perk in the RPG system, but you can only dual wield your pistols.
Yeah, pistols or machine pistols. Now the machine pistols do. When you spray them, that's kind of what I was hoping
But I
for.
want to dual wield snipers, man. That's like the thing. You can dual wield everything.
A shotgun and an SMG. That's my mix. But no, I've souped up my SMG. I put all my points into my SMG because I was hoping I could dual wield that, and I was just gonna mow everyone down. And then you can't even dual wield those, so I kind of wasted my points and my money on that. So this RPG system, you get rewarded for kills and actions completed, quests, the normal stuff, but you get these silver coins that you're supposed to spend on your weapons. And it feels like they borrowed the same system from Rage, but it doesn't really seem to add anything to it. You're just getting these things just by killing people. It could have just easily been another system or a money system or something else, but it just seems like they disconnected it just to kind of make a depth that didn't really need to be there.
So like we said, there's an RPG system, but it kind of contradicts itself at times. I always like an RPG, and when they can throw it in a shooter that really entices you, then I'm all for it. But like this just kind of basic and throwing in there. And this game's a co-op game, but then Scott had played before me, and he was level 20 and I was level 0. And to start off, it was rough for me. Like everything just took so much damage and so much time to kill when he was just whipping through it.
And it's supposed to scale off of your own level and difficulty. So it was really weird. And your own level is already a weird kind of concept to bring to a Wolfenstein game because there's never been level systems before. There's never been an experience kind of grind. And it kind of feels like they put it in there to kind of put a grind in. And I know I'm just playing with a co-op friend, so we're supposed to be death machines, but I don't want to grind the same thing over and over again just for the sake of levels, just so that we're almost the same level so we can match better and then the game kind of evens itself out. It's really weird because why is there even a number difficulty system in there to begin with?
They should have just not had the RPG system. Even the different enemies, they have tier systems, so it's kind of a nice clear indicator on which one's going to be harder, but still, like if I'm going to fight a drone, a basic drone flying around, it shouldn't be able to one-shot me or anything. Like it's just a drone.
Just because of it's 5 numbers ahead of you or something. Yeah, why is it there and 5 numbers ahead of me? It just brings in I want to explore this game and I want to be able to drop my co-op friend in and out. If I'm going to do that, I don't want to be hindered by an hour of grinding against an enemy with my co-op friend, and now we can play the game.
Or be forced to start an entire new campaign.
Or be forced to start a new campaign where I'm going to be grinding through the same enemies again and again. You're supposed to do that, kind of. So I want to do that on one character. I don't want to have to keep doing it.
But like, so one of the things that you got to take for this game, it is not a full price game. This is where I'm like, okay, if you look at it like an expansion, it's only a $40 game, $55 game if you get the deluxe edition, which I do recommend if you have a friend that you want to play with. But we'll get into the buddy pass system later, because it is pretty much a full game. It's not a full Wolfenstein game, but I mean there are lots of hours of shooting and bosses and areas to explore. So for $40. It is worth picking up, I think, with your friend, because Scott and I did have quite a bit of fun ripping through it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just so many, just a few things where you're just like, why did you make this decision? Who thought this was a good idea? In the story mode, when you're playing through the campaign, you can get to the very end and you're fighting the boss and you die. You have to start from the beginning of the mission. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. Checkpoints have been in games since the beginning of when I was born.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It's weird systems. I feel like they didn't exactly make this one for the fans.
But like they kind of did.
But they kind of did because it's just a game kind of expansion with co-op. So it's if you play these ones and you want to play with your friend, you're going to buy it. But it's hard to see who they're going for, who the audience is. You kind of have to compare that against the other games that were full price AAA titles. Now this is kind of advertised that way, but then you find out that it's actually only $40. So that does gain it a little bit of breathing room for me.
So like we mentioned too, there's the Buddy Pass system, and this is one of the coolest things I've actually seen, and I'll give huge props to Bethesda for doing this.
Yeah, I want to see more companies bring this in because it's value. That's how you get people playing your game.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, if you get the deluxe edition, which is only $55, it gives you the option to share the game with anybody you want, as many times as you want. One at a time, mind you, of course.
Yeah, it is only a 2-player co-op game, so there's that. And you're required to have your friend play. They can't play without you. You're not just gifting the game. They have to download the trial version, but what happens is the trial version is just the full game, just locked. So then I can send you an invite if you're on the trial version and you just jump into mine. It doesn't give you achievements, you have to pay for those, I guess, but your progress tracks and your characters.
So everything, like that right there, I was super jacked about. I ended up buying the game. We could have done the Buddy Pass system, but I'm a Wolfenstein fan, so had to support them. But the Buddy Pass system, I can't wait to see what Bethesda maybe does in the future with some more games. Because maybe Doom Eternal? Probably not, but...
This is a good idea, though. I'm happy with this one. I hope they stick to something like that.
Yeah, man. Alright, so if we're going to summarize this odd review, it's kind of been like an up and down.
It sounds like we like it and we don't like it at the same time.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, for me personally, I'm a big fan of the series from the start. I played all of them very thoroughly. This one is missing a lot of things for me, and it just kind of makes me angry in that regard. Now, I understand they want to open it up for new players, and I understand that too, but it's just... I wish that was advertised
Step in the
to
wrong
me.
direction.
And then these weird RPG elements. Assassin's Creed did it. I don't think it worked. I don't know if it's a good idea to just start throwing number systems into there. So for me personally, I'm going to have to give this one a 6.5, and that kind of hurts.
Man, I'm pretty much right on the same points. The RPG system's there, but it's just so mediocre and just feels like it wasn't supposed to be there.
And you're the looter shooter.
And I'm the looter shooter, yeah, absolutely. And, oh man, it's just too bad. The Buddy Pass system, though, huge props for that. And like I said before, I'm excited to see what happens, so I'm right there with you, man. 6.5.
Let's do or die, sis.
Overall, this game has great core shooter mechanics, but the tacked on RPG elements seriously hurt the experience.
Alright, so this week I'm doing mobile mention, and I'm talking about Call of Duty Mobile. So this game actually caught me totally by surprise. I saw it on my app store and I'm like, yeah, I guess I could check it out. And believe it or not, if you haven't played Black Ops 4, it's just like Black Ops 4 on your phone, and it's free. You get Battle Royale mode, you get regular Team Deathmatch, and Search and Destroy. They had free-for-all as a special event. All sorts of great stuff. They have Zombies mode coming for free as well. This is pretty crazy. So like I said, it's free, but it does have a Battle Pass, and the Battle Pass, it's the first one here in Canada, and I'd say it's pretty good. It doesn't have all the crazy rewards that some of these other games have, but to start, I'd say it's pretty strong, and I'd honestly really recommend you download this game. You're gonna get lots of kills, lots of kill streaks, and yeah, have fun.
Alright, so I'm doing a recap of Rainbow Six Siege Canada Nationals Stage 1 Week 4. So just to do a quick summary of what's been happening, Team Canada won last weekend, and they will be proceeding to the Grand Finals at EGLX, and the winners of today will also be going to the Grand Finals. So this is a pretty exciting match. It's a lot's on the line right now, because the winners of this gets to make some money or all the money when they make it to the finals. So heading into this match, we had Psychopaths Gaming. This is a newly found team here in Canada. They actually have a coach. They're quite a structured team, but you could tell that they're new. There's a couple players that really shine and kind of a little bit of a lack of depth heading into this match, but maybe moving forward they can maybe prove themselves. But That being said, they're still a force to be reckoned with, because like I previously mentioned, with their coach and a couple strong players, they're really a powerful team. So now their opposition is Thread the Needle. So this team consists of just 5 friends. We have 2 fairly popular streamers, and they're actually they're also very good at this game. And once you watch this recap, you'll definitely understand what I mean. This team also kind of lacks a little bit of depth, but maybe watching this, that changes. So heading into match 1, we had Consulate. The band operators were Thermite, Echo, Blackbeard, and Mira. Now, Mira was a little bit of an odd choice. It used to be a popular choice back in the day, but honestly, with this map and with this style of game now, with all the new operators, Mira's not used very often, so it was kind of a bit of a surprise. And Thermite, again, is popular, but Hibana is typically used more often, so I was a little surprised to see that too. Echo, of course, no surprise there, and Blackbeard, well, he's a pretty tough character too, so I could see that being taken out. Heading straight into it, Psychopaths Gaming looked really strong. They got a flawless victory on the first round of the first match, and it all happened within about 10 seconds, 5 kills, just like that. Now after a few rounds, Thread the Needle did start to pick up their game, and at about the halfway mark it was 3-2 for Psychopaths Gaming. So Thread the Needle did need to pick up their game, and they really did. Once Thread the Needle was sitting on defense, they really came out swinging. They won every round up until round 11, and then finally Psychopaths Gaming got their feet on the ground and actually pulled off a win. So from there it went all the way to round 15, where Psychopaths Gaming did not win, unfortunately, and Thread the Needle barely pulled it off, and well, let's say they threaded the needle. Now heading into the second match, we had Cafe and actually the exact same band, so it was kind of funny seeing this. Not usually you see the same bands back to back, but I guess they both just were used to the same strategies. So the outcome of this match was quite a bit different from the last one. This did not go to 15 rounds. Thread the Needle, really, they just kind of came out swinging again. They had a couple flawless victories. Psychopaths Gaming's, they couldn't just get it together. Every time there was a one-on-one, Thread the Needle would win. And in this match, Thread the Needle was a lot more aggressive. And in the previous match, when they were aggressive, they won. And it shows again in this matchup. On round 5, Psychopath Gaming was up 4-1, and they still managed to lose the round. And unfortunately, that was kind of the outcome for the rest of the game, and it ended up to be their demise. So to conclude, it was 7-3 for Thread the Needle. It was a really close game and really an entertaining game. I'm really looking forward to seeing Team Canada and Thread the Needle come the finals, so I'm looking forward to covering that as well. So here are highlights from both matches. Hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Corey, this one's hard. This is no powwow. This is Power Rumi. All right, Corey, so we're a little out of my element here. This is a top-down space shooter, Power Rumi. It's got some weird mechanics to it, though, that kind of drew me in. This is all new to me.
It's like, yeah, we're playing this top-down arcade-style space shooter on the Switch, which I think actually lends it a bit of a favor, because I think this is a good platform to play a game like this.
Definitely,
because
yeah.
the Switch is a very, you know, grab-and-go kind of thing, and this is a very quick game. And when I say it's a quick game, I don't necessarily mean it's, you know, you blast through the levels real fast, because this one is difficult.
They blast through you
even
real fast.
on easy. This one I found so challenging because it has a bit of a different play, and you touched on it there for a second, is we're actually working with a trifecta of colors, red, green, and blue, and all these colors actually, what they mean is you have 3 different ships that you can switch through simultaneously throughout the level, and you've got 3 different colors of enemies coming through. Funny enough, red, green, blue, but it's not as easy as just matching the colors to the enemies that you're fighting.
Depends on what you want to do. So
Yes.
this is where the strategy of this game comes in, because if you're having a hard time and you're taking a lot of damage, you want to hit the enemies with the same color they are. That charges your shields up. Now, if you hit them with the opposite color, that gives you a super attack.
Yeah, so it's like a rock, paper, scissors style. Like, green's gonna always beat blue, but blue's gonna beat red, but red's gonna beat green. So you're always switching between the ships depending on.
Just right on the fly. There's just
Which is
3
nice
attack
because
buttons.
it's Y, B, and A, and that switches between the 3 colors of ships you have. So the controls themselves are actually really simple to learn, but learning when to use which ship I found to be very difficult. And while you're trying to sort that out, you also have to dodge the bullets from the people you're attacking.
A lot of bullets. It's so hard and foreign for me to dodge these things and try and keep track of what's going on at the top of the screen.
Very tough.
It gets dizzying. But this difficulty in matching the attacks with the things coming at you and the superpower, it kind of has some shortcuts to get you through it.
Yeah.
So if you realize that you don't really need shield, you just turn on the right color and you just start melting the guys.
Yeah.
And if you're in a real bad pickle like I was a lot of the time, you just hit the top button and it
does like a
kind
big
of a screen wave.
Screen wave kind of attack, which looked really good. This game, for a $15 game on the Nintendo eShop, it actually looks really good. The audio is fantastic. You get all your space sounds, blaster sounds, everything you can think of in a game like this. But for the price, actually, the package that you get, I think, is actually pretty good value overall.
Yeah.
There isn't much to this game. There's 5 levels, and you can play all 5 levels on easy, normal, or hard, and they do get increasingly more difficult because, like we said, learning this game on easy even is difficult. That game over, splash screen came up way too many times for my liking to start this one, and it is kind of tough to jump into when it's that difficult, but once you master the colors,
your reflexes get fast enough.
Exactly.
You kind of get some progress through it. But if you get progress through the first 2 levels and then you die, you start right at the start. So they introduced a training mode so you can kind of just replay that one segment over and over again. I needed that to get through to some of these other ones because even on easy, this game just destroys you quick.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's the kind of thing, like we said, it's a $15 game, so we've got your basic campaign, which, I don't really even want to call it a campaign. There is a loose story to follow with some cutscenes and dialogue. But let me tell you, I tried my best to follow what was going on. I had no clue.
It was very, science.
Yeah, you didn't really understand what the whole premise of the actual campaign story was. All I knew is that I needed to learn what colors to use to blast the colored enemies, and I was like, that's as far as I'm going to take this
My character was wronged somehow, and now they're going to get wronged in return. And that's kind of just the gist of it.
Just kind of a quick basal story. There wasn't a whole lot outside of the campaign. Like you said, there's a training mode, and there's also a tutorial. but that's it. And again, you can't expect too much for a $15 game, but at the same time, it'd be nice to see maybe like a co-op element, because we're playing on the Switch, where, you know, the level's already hard enough, so let me join in with a friend who maybe controls a ship that just does one color or something like that.
That would be interesting.
Like, that would be kind of a cool take on a game like this, right? Well, we're gonna wrap this one up. I think we had a fun time playing this, Scott. If you gotta give it a score, what are you gonna give it?
Well, for the value that what you're getting and the drop-in playability of it, it's really good on Switch, and I did have a good time.
Yeah.
The game itself looks pretty nice. It's very visually distracting when you're actually really getting shot at, and the way the cameras kind of pan around your ship gives you a nice 3D feel. It's a cool experience. The sounds are there too, but the sounds of me dying are far too frequent. So it's a mixed bag for me, but I'm gonna have to give this one a 7. It's a solid game.
You know what? I'm right there with you. I can agree with the fact that this game's easy to pick up. It's cheap. Anybody can really grab this one. It kind of makes you, feel like you're playing an old school arcade game from way back where, you get a few chances and that game over screen pops up a lot. But once you kind of master this one, I think that's where you get the rewarding aspect out of this game. So there's a bit of a grind to get to that point. But again, there's a lot of elements in this one that are good. The graphics are fantastic. The audio was great, and just the difficulty level is actually what makes you want to kind of keep playing. So I think fans of this genre are really going to love it, so I'm going to give it a 7 as well.
Pawa Rumi is a fun game to play on the Switch. Its arcade-style gameplay really makes you feel like you're playing an old classic, but this version is not so easy to get into. The controls are simple to learn, but not easy to master, which means you'll find yourself starting levels over on a regular basis. But that's what makes Pawa Rumi so much fun. Its addictive nature will keep you hooked.
I'm a hunter of the Griftlands. I jumped into Griftlands over on the Epic Games Store. I had the pleasure of playing this unique card battling system that is taking what's familiar, but he has kind of flipped it and spun it on its head. We play the role of Sal, a new hunter, kind of left for dead over in the Griftlands, and her task now is to go out and either seek revenge or help others, or negotiate. New, isn't it, in the card battling system? This one was kind of unique in the fact that you have 2 sets of decks. You're using decks to do your battles with, and you're using another set of decks that allow you to negotiate deals, whether you're stealing or just trying to get your own way to manipulate certain aspects of the story mode. It is a very unique twist. Anybody used to a Clay title is very familiar with the art style. Fan of Mark of the Ninja? Don't Starve? You're going to get that feel, that sense of that art style here as well. It's fantastic in the way they developed the game. I was really impressed and drawn into the art style because that's what they're built around, and then that allows me to kind of gravitate to this story that's unfolding as Sal, who is left for dead out in the wastelands, and you come across her and she comes back and is kind of fighting her way through some certain situations that are comical in sense and then rewarding for others. Clay has introduced a new mechanic for a card battling system, and it's a roguelike. Everybody's familiar with these roguelike titles nowadays, but now they've actually meshed 2 together with card battles as well as this, allowing the story then to progress, but every time you fail, you die, and then you're able to come back. The fact that you are introduced to so many characters and are allowed to build upon your party and then lose them is kind of detrimental in moving forward, but it's that risk reward you take sometimes when you're playing a game like this. I love the character design within the game. It's a huge feature that plays within the role of the game, because sometimes going with one person may affect another, so you can actually kind of close out that story aspect within the game. And it's really cool. Sometimes these choices really matter, so you need to pick which way you want to go, and sometimes the choices I picked weren't exactly where I wanted to go. But in the end, it's that character risk reward that you're getting of, I'm going to hear this person's story, but I'm going to lose out to this person, but at the same time, I'm making that person mad. And then there's this risk reward of, you're liking this person, and then that person doesn't like you, and there's a battle within the whole world that's just awesome to stick with. And as you play, it kind of just builds up more and more. It's really, really well done. Now, one of the parts that I found really difficult within the game is actually getting familiar with the cards themselves. The whole game is featured around these cards, but the explanation of how to go about using the cards to counter what other cards, I kind of left a little in the midst of what should I be doing. I'm kind of basing off of, hopefully this card works and hopefully that card works. And eventually you do this enough times that you fail and realize what's going to work and what's not going to work. But a little explanation and a little more detail as to why I want to select certain cards to battle and kind of build my roster and allowing me to build my deck would have been a little nice to know going in a little further as you get deeper within the game, because sometimes choosing the wrong cards means life or death, and that kind of ends the game in a hurry when all of a sudden you just chose the wrong card because you weren't quite sure what that card did. So Griftlands is a unique title on a roguelike card battling system, using the negotiations to navigate your way through sticky situations, or just going into a straight battle and taking out your opponent. It's a great time. I'm giving Griftlands a 7. Griftlands is a unique card battling game that gives you 2 sets of decks that allow you to maneuver your way through this roguelike title. Great art design as well as great characters brings this card battling to the top, and one to look out for. Yeah, I've got $1 million, yeah. I've already spent 1.5. Let's see. Years.
Setria.
Try this.
Black Dragon Fight Club.
Problem is, Garrus is, he's slow.
Oh yeah, a slow character.
Yeah.
He's got some cheese though.
He certainly does.
I've seen some cool things.
Yeah.
I have served for eons, Cetrion.
That is your sole purpose.
But not my sole desire. Round 1. Fight!
There it is.
Yep. Holy dude, I hurt you big time on that one. I know. Nice. Nice. Ah! How'd you get that? Oh my god. This is the crap that kills me. Oh, come on.
The future can be yours.
Round 2. Fight.
Man, cheap.
Cheap.
I didn't take the health off this time like earlier.
Yeah, it's true. You didn't do the enhancement.
Yeah, I beat you to it.
Oh, it's because I attacked you. That's why.
Oh man, I put my shoulder in, dude. Oh, no way. Oh! Oh, that sucks. Yeah.
I'm like, he's gonna do a fatal blow.
Whoa! No way. Oh, that's crap. I had to. I'm like, forget it. I gotta get it. Uh-huh.
Final round. Fight.
Oh, that's just brutal. No way. Oh, this sucks.
I don't remember that dang move.
Uh-huh. What? Man, oh man. Oh! What? Wow, nice. Oh, come on. Out of here. That sucks. Oh, there, I'm dead. Nah.
Central wins.
Alright. Battle of the Mains?
Alright, man. Sounds good to me.
Alright, let's do it.
Looks like a free match.
That's fine. As long as one of us picks a different character, a different, select a character, then we're good to go.
Scorpion. Cabal.
My main. Alright, what do you want to play on?
Okay, this one's cool. The Shiryu Garden, Fire Garden is a cool one.
Shirai Ryu Fire Garden.
shouldn't have gone up against us. We should have finished it, Cabal. A mistake you're gonna pay for.
Round 1. Fight.
Cool.
Oh man. Really?
Round 2. Fight.
You know what I don't know how to do is any Cabal's lowest guy. Oh, there.
There you go.
That's what I didn't learn how to do. I always let go of blocks and do it.
All right, best 2 to 3 for this.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a little bit of lag.
Just a little bit.
Little effect of the end or so.
Yeah. You want a different fighting style, or you want this one?
No, I'm thinking.
All right.
Round 1. Fight.
Nice.
Nice. My low hook grab is not very good. Like that is not the hook grab. There it is.
Ooh, that was cool. Ah, there it is. Nicely done. Oh, I missed. Uh-uh. Oh, wow, really, eh? Oh, he just got me. That was close.
Round 2. Fight.
Yeah, I don't have that. Ah, that sucks. Ooh, I didn't get the block. Nice. Uh-huh. Oh! Oh, I went in for a grab.
Good. fight.
Yeah. You too. That was close. You almost had me on that one. Scorpion's the only guy you really know how to use.
I need to start playing.
Scorpion.
Clearly, it's pretty good, man. You give it to them.
Nice.
What happens if you play online, man?
Yeah, that's who I use. Alright, Nate, that wraps up another episode. Now, each and every week, you guys reach out to us with one of your clips. Nate, who do we have this week?
This week we got M Frost with a pretty crazy Sub-Zero brutality. Let's check it out.